Fourth time's a charm. Hi, everybody. I am coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm hanging out in my house to check in and talk to you all about your first paper for this course. Papers, if you haven't noticed yet, are called writing projects. They're referred to as writing projects. So the first paper coming up, due at the end of this week on Monday, is Writing Project 1. That is the summary response paper. Response, by the way, another word for analysis. I have a few pointers for you guys that I'm hoping you all will heed. And then if you have any remaining questions, I hope that you'll reach out to me with those questions. Okay, so the first thing to know is that reading the assignment all the way through could save your life, at least where the paper is concerned, the life of your paper. Make sure that you do that. The assignment is under the Learning Activities folder in Session 2. The two absolute most important pages, technically three because it spills over into the last page, but the two absolute most important pages of this assignment are the last two. That's where you'll find the descriptions of what I'm looking for in both the first and in the last drafts. You want to read those all the way through, but especially read the rough draft first. Then you want to worry about the final draft page or two when that actually comes due in a couple of weeks. On the rough draft page, you'll see three sections. The first describes the purpose statement, which is to go at the front of the paper, and that section just describes what's required in a purpose statement. Let's see, the middle section describes what you need to do in the body of the paper itself. So in the intro, the body paragraphs, the conclusion. I would use these first two sections on the purpose statement and the body as checklists for what to do in the paper. The third section is the rubric, which you should use when you're done writing the paper and you need to revise it. Know that it is the guide that I will use to grade your paper. So you can score yourself on it to see roughly how you did on the rough draft and how you're going to do on the final draft. Just know that your expectations when you're grading yourself are probably going to look different from mine because our training is going to be different. The second thing to know about this first draft is that it is indeed a rough one. As long as you do what is asked of you on the assignment, you'll get full or near full points. It's only 15 points, so don't sweat it. The serious grading comes in when I grade the final draft. The third thing is that I want to take a moment to discuss the structure of the paper, where you should spend your time, and on the side I'll squeeze in some suggestions of how to summarize and respond. I do not think that you should have more than one paragraph of summary of the reading or the video you're discussing. And it's totally fine if the summary is the first paragraph. You jump right in. Gina Rosero, in her TED Talk, so-and-so talks about, can just start your paragraph, and then you can go forward from there. It's totally fine, like I said, if the summary is the first paragraph, and if it's only one paragraph. You don't want to get hung up on minor details when you're summarizing. Keep the phrase "just the facts" in your head when you're thinking about summarizing. Say what the main points are, then get out of there. Every paragraph after the summary should be your response. A response, in the case of an English paper, just means giving your opinion and basing what you say on the reading itself. You use a quote to demonstrate what you're talking about. That's a response. So this is what so-and-so is talking about. This is what I think of it. This is a quote that demonstrates what they're discussing. This is what I think of what they said. And you've responded. You want to focus in your response, though. That's really, really important. In this case, that means talking only about one aspect of your one core reading at a time. That is to say, don't respond to more than one thing per paragraph. Your paper will feel like a hot mess if you do. Fourthly, cite your source. Give in-text citations every time you quote or paraphrase an author. Every time. Make sure to put all the necessary information for that author's work in the Works Cited page. If you are missing in-text citations or a works cited page, your draft will receive a 0. That is true for your rough draft as well as for your final draft. Plagiarism is not technically mean copying and pasting all the time. It's actually by definition just the lack of citation. So you got to make sure either you mention the author's name in a sentence wherever you're quoting or paraphrasing him or her, or you put his or her name at the end of the sentence in parentheses. That covers you on a basic level. You can look in your textbook for more help with MLA formatting, or you can go to owl.english.purdue.edu, and that's a free and great resource for you to use to guide you through citation. By the way, you are only using one source for this paper, which is the one core reading that you have chosen to talk about. It is really important that you focus just on this reading and not bring any outside sources in. Focus just on what you don't like about it, what things you think are or are not being done successfully by the author in your core reading. That is all that is being asked of you. You may think it'd be awesome to bring in outside sources, but since that's not part of the assignment, at this point, I'd consider other sources a distraction from your response to the core reading, which could lose you points. Just do what is asked. Lastly, there is a student sample of each writing project under the Green Resources tab. I've looked at them. They're legit. They're A papers. It's hugely important, actually, that you go there and you look at that sample, download it, read it carefully, study it. Make note of what that student is doing right and when, and know that even though you obviously can't copy the paper, you can do what it does and when it does it. You could totally use it as a template, in other words, like a little mold or model. I think that covers everything that I have to say about this paper, Writing Project 1. Best of luck, and again, please reach out if you have any further questions or if there's something in this video you're curious about but that I haven't covered. All right, good luck, guys. I'll see you soon.